In the vast silence of interstellar space, the human race had long been considered insignificant by the galaxy's dominant powers, a quiet observer whose presence barely warranted notice beyond a few passing surveys and dismissive reports. Across the star systems, the councils of the Xylar Dominion, the Phyrexian Conclave, and the Orvani Syndicate had debated humanity as a curiosity, a mildly interesting species confined to a small, resource-limited planet on the fringe of explored space, a species too primitive to wield any meaningful influence in galactic affairs. Yet beneath the surface of perceived weakness, humanity had been quietly observing, recording, and learning, their technological progress deliberately obscured behind the guise of mediocrity, their defensive capabilities masked by decades of careful diplomacy and misdirection. For humans understood one universal truth that their alien neighbors had underestimated: power without patience was fragile, but patience bred inevitability. On Earth, in cities sprawling across continents, laboratories and military installations hummed with activity as scientists, engineers, and strategists meticulously advanced technologies a galaxy would not expect for another century, and yet they did so in a way that remained invisible to satellites, sensors, and alien probes, a deliberate shadow war of intellect and innovation. Political leaders debated openly in parliaments and assemblies, crafting narratives of cooperation and benign development, while behind the scenes, humanity tested new propulsion systems capable of near-instantaneous travel between star systems, energy weapons of precision and unparalleled destructive capacity, and artificial intelligences that could model galactic dynamics and strategy with astonishing speed and subtlety. Meanwhile, humans cultivated alliances with previously overlooked civilizations, minor species subjugated by the dominant powers, offering aid, trade, and protection in exchange for intelligence, resources, and loyalty, slowly weaving a web of influence that stretched across systems unnoticed. The inciting incident came subtly, almost innocuously, when a Phyrexian research vessel strayed into the orbit of Saturn, confident that any human response would be minimal at best, a gesture of oversight rather than aggression, testing the limits of Earth's planetary defenses. They did not anticipate the silent network of satellites, drones, and orbital defenses that activated in perfect synchrony, neutralizing the vessel without a single human life at risk, recording data and sending encrypted signals back to the Central Command. When the Xylar Dominion sent a delegation to negotiate a minor trade dispute in orbit around Mars, they were met not with diplomats, but with a fully operational fleet of stealth-capable warships, their presence undetectable until moments before they emerged from transit points near strategic asteroid belts, revealing humanity's reach beyond what any council had thought possible. On board these ships, crews of humans operated with an uncanny cohesion, relying on training, intuition, and adaptive algorithms to coordinate maneuvers that alien commanders would later describe as simultaneously chaotic and perfectly synchronized, a contradiction that human ingenuity made possible through a combination of strategic foresight and psychological understanding of opponent behavior. Back on Earth, civilian populations continued with daily life largely unaware of the scale at which their species operated, their entertainment, commerce, and communication channels carefully designed to maintain societal stability while supporting the technological and logistical backbone of an interstellar emergence that the galaxy would soon be forced to acknowledge. The aliens, arrogant in their assumptions, mistook these preparations for ordinary scientific development, completely unaware that humanity's history of survival, of thriving against natural disasters, plagues, and internal strife, had forged a species adept at strategy, adaptation, and resilience, capable of harnessing collective effort in ways alien bureaucracies and hierarchies could not comprehend. When minor skirmishes erupted on outlying human colonies that had been quietly established decades earlier, the alien aggressors found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned by defenses and tactics that appeared almost prescient, as if humans had anticipated every possible contingency, and in many cases, they had the result of meticulous simulation and analysis over years. Word of these incidents began to leak among the galactic powers, whispers of human capability growing louder, yet the majority dismissed them as anomalies, unable to reconcile centuries of assumptions about human inferiority with the emerging evidence of strategic brilliance and technological parity, a cognitive dissonance that would prove fatal in the months to come. Diplomats attempting to engage with human representatives discovered an unexpected combination of pragmatism and unyielding principle, a negotiation style that balanced compassion for allies with ruthless efficiency against threats, leaving alien negotiators unnerved, uncertain whether they were witnessing unprecedented morality or cunning calculation, and often both. By the time the first overt display of human interstellar power occurred, in what was framed as a defensive response to a border incursion, the galaxy's leading powers were confronted with a sudden and undeniable fact. Humanity was no longer a passive observer, no longer a species to be disregarded or underestimated, but a force whose mastery of technology, strategy, and interspecies diplomacy had been quietly perfected until the moment of revelation, a force capable of asserting its will and reshaping the balance of power with precision and authority, leaving those who had long considered themselves masters of the stars scrambling to reassess their understanding of one species they had persistently ignored and mocked. And in that realization, the first true chapter of humanity's rise began, an ascent forged in patience, intelligence, and the unwavering drive to survive, thrive, and ultimately claim a position in the galaxy that no other civilization had deemed possible for them. The initial shockwave of humanity's emergence sent ripples through the galaxy as intelligence reports, intercepted communications, and first-hand encounters with human fleets revealed a species whose strategic depth and technological capability far outstripped expectations, causing panic among previously confident galactic powers who had long assumed Earth to be harmless. Within the Xylar Dominion, debates erupted between factions that advocated immediate retaliation and those who argued for cautious observation, as their analyses could not reconcile centuries of perceived human weakness with the undeniable reality of orbital defenses, stealth fleets, and adaptive weaponry that had neutralized incursions before they could escalate. And while the Dominion's leaders hesitated, humans quietly expanded their presence along hyperlanes previously considered inaccessible, establishing forward bases and covert observation posts in asteroid belts and uncharted star systems, all while maintaining the appearance of routine scientific exploration and trade. In parallel, the Phyrexian conclave, whose pride had been wounded by the neutralization of a research vessel, convened a war council to discuss punitive measures, only to discover that their intelligence on human colonies was incomplete, with supply lines, communication networks, and automated defense systems far more advanced than anticipated, forcing them to acknowledge, at least privately, that humanity had been preparing for this eventual confrontation for decades, a revelation that filled Phyrexian commanders with unease and resentment as they realized they had underestimated not only Earth but the species' ability to coordinate across multiple star systems with near-perfect efficiency. Meanwhile, humanity's political leadership, comprising representatives from Earth's unified coalition and key allied colonies, pursued a dual-track strategy of public diplomacy and covert operational expansion, ensuring that when humans acted against aggressive alien incursions, their actions were framed as defensive and justified, while behind the scenes, engineers and strategists refined faster-than-light travel, precision weapons, and automated fleet coordination, incorporating lessons learned from every minor engagement into simulations predicting enemy behavior in real time, creating a feedback loop of adaptation that alien opponents struggled to comprehend. During this period, smaller civilizations previously oppressed or ignored by dominant galactic powers began to gravitate toward human protection, drawn by evidence of both capability and fairness in the application of force, resulting in a growing coalition of systems loyal to humanity not through coercion, but through recognition of mutual interest and survival, with humans providing technological aid, defensive infrastructure, and logistical support that elevated these allies far above what the Phyrexians and Xylars had assumed possible. Tension escalated further when the Orvani Syndicate attempted to assert control over a resource-rich star cluster near the edge of human-influenced space, only to encounter an intricately coordinated human response. Sensor arrays had anticipated the Syndicate's movements. Drones deployed to monitor key nodes reported in real time, and a combination of orbital defenses and small fire-strike craft engaged with uncanny precision, intercepting supply convoys and disabling command vessels without risking human casualties, leaving Orvani diplomats bewildered and militarily humiliated, forcing them to request emergency negotiations while secretly preparing contingency fleets, a process that highlighted the profound miscalculation they had made by assuming humans were technologically inferior. Within human command centers, scientists and tacticians analyzed every engagement with obsessive detail, using quantum-based simulations to model enemy behavior under a variety of conditions, enabling the development of new tactics almost instantaneously as real-world scenarios unfolded, and these innovations were shared across the human coalition through encrypted communication networks that even the most advanced alien eavesdropping attempts could not penetrate, ensuring that the element of surprise remained consistently on humanity's side. As these conflicts intensified, aliens began to perceive humans as unpredictable and dangerously innovative, a combination that challenged not only their military doctrines but also the cultural assumptions underpinning their governance structures, because humans displayed a remarkable capacity for improvisation under pressure, adapting strategies mid-engagement with intuitive precision, while simultaneously maintaining the ability to plan and execute multi-system campaigns that preserve both offensive momentum and logistical stability, a duality that few civilizations had ever managed to achieve. Amid these confrontations, human fleets increasingly acted as both shield and sword, protecting vulnerable systems while simultaneously projecting power into contested regions, often negotiating peacefully with local species first and using precise displays of force only when absolutely necessary, demonstrating a disciplined restraint that alien powers mistook for weakness until it became too late. A restraint informed by centuries of learning that true mastery of conflict involved not only defeating opponents but doing so in a manner that minimized collateral damage and strengthened alliances, reinforcing humanity's reputation as both formidable and principled. By the time the first major combined alien counteroffensive was launched, targeting human-protected colonies near the Epsilon Eridani system, human forces had already integrated advanced reconnaissance, predictive modeling, and multi-theater coordination to an unprecedented level, allowing fleets to anticipate enemy movements, set traps, and neutralize key command nodes before the bulk of opposing forces could engage, effectively turning alien numerical superiority into a liability, as their coordinated attacks were met with preemptive countermeasures executed with precision timing that left them overextended and vulnerable, across command centers on Earth and allied colonies. Civilian populations celebrated minor victories while remaining largely unaware of the complexity of operations unfolding in distant star systems, contributing resources, supporting research initiatives, and maintaining economic stability that underpinned humanity's broader strategy, a societal cohesion alien species struggled to fathom, as it combined purpose, discipline, and ingenuity in a way no centralized bureaucracy in the galaxy could replicate. Through all of this, humanity's philosophy remained consistent. Power was not merely a tool for conquest, but a responsibility to protect, elevate, and preserve, a principle that guided every engagement, every diplomatic negotiation, and every technological breakthrough, ensuring that as humans rose to prominence, their ascent reshaped not only territorial control but the ethical and strategic paradigms by which the galaxy would eventually be governed, a rise both calculated and inevitable, built on patience, intelligence, and a refusal to be underestimated, setting the stage for confrontations and revelations that would define the next era of galactic history. As the galaxy struggled to comprehend humanity's sudden emergence as a dominant power, humans continued to consolidate their influence with a mixture of precision, diplomacy, and calculated deterrence, establishing forward outposts in previously overlooked systems while simultaneously reinforcing the security of existing colonies with stealth-based sensor networks, orbital defense arrays, and rapid response fleets capable of traveling light years in hours, all coordinated through artificial intelligences that modeled enemy tactics and projected potential scenarios with near-perfect accuracy. Alien powers, still reeling from previous miscalculations, attempted to coordinate a response through multi-species councils and combined fleet actions, yet their bureaucracies and conflicting priorities made swift action nearly impossible, creating gaps that humans exploited without hesitation, demonstrating an understanding of not only technology but of psychology, culture, and the predictable inefficiencies inherent in alien hierarchies. And through these maneuvers, humans were able to secure key hyperspace routes, resource-rich asteroids, and strategic planets before their opponents could effectively react, creating a network of influence that extended humanity's reach far beyond what any council had anticipated. On Earth, political leaders coordinated with scientists and military strategists in an unprecedented fusion of civilian oversight and operational command, ensuring that all human actions reflected both ethical considerations and strategic advantage, while simultaneously fostering innovation through research institutions that encourage bold experimentation, leading to breakthroughs in energy manipulation, propulsion, and automated warfare that alien intelligence networks could not detect until activated, giving humanity the element of surprise repeatedly in engagements across multiple star systems. During this period, humans demonstrated remarkable restraint and strategic patience, often allowing minor provocations to pass while observing alien reactions and mapping vulnerabilities, a psychological approach informed by centuries of navigating internal conflicts, natural disasters, and global challenges on Earth, resulting in a species uniquely equipped to predict, adapt, and outmaneuver opponents who relied solely on raw force or conventional strategy. And when the first major coordinated human offensive was launched against a coalition of Phyrexian and Orvani forces attempting to seize control of the Aelios Belt, the operation displayed an unprecedented level of planning and execution, with human fleets synchronizing attacks across orbital, atmospheric, and surface targets simultaneously, disabling command structures, supply lines, and key infrastructure before alien forces could respond, effectively turning their own numerical advantage into a liability as chaos and confusion spread through the ranks. Meanwhile, smaller civilizations, long oppressed or marginalized by galactic powers, began to openly support humanity, providing intelligence, safe harbors, and access to hidden resources, creating a coalition of allies whose loyalty was earned rather than coerced. And these alliances proved crucial as humans leveraged them to conduct operations in systems previously deemed inaccessible or highly contested, demonstrating a strategic depth and foresight that alien commanders could neither predict nor counter. On the diplomatic front, human envoys engaged in complex negotiations with multiple alien factions simultaneously, presenting offers of trade, security, and cooperation while subtly exposing the weaknesses and contradictions within opposing hierarchies, forcing alien diplomats to make concessions and adjustments in real time, often under the pressure of knowing that any misstep could result in decisive human action, and the skillful integration of diplomacy, strategy, and technological superiority became a hallmark of humanity's rise, blending force with persuasion in a manner that reshaped perceptions of power throughout the galaxy. As engagements intensified, human military doctrine evolved to emphasize adaptability, initiative, and the decentralized execution of orders, allowing commanders in the field to respond to unforeseen developments without waiting for central approval, a practice alien species struggled to comprehend due to their reliance on rigid chains of command. And this approach frequently turned apparent setbacks into opportunities, as human forces improvised solutions, anticipated enemy reactions, and leveraged every advantage available, turning every engagement into a test of not just strength, but ingenuity and psychological acuity. Simultaneously, human scientists accelerated advancements in energy manipulation and propulsion technology, developing systems capable of both defensive shielding and offensive precision strikes that rendered many alien weapons ineffective, and these breakthroughs were integrated seamlessly into fleets and planetary defenses, creating a synchronized and overwhelming capability that alien powers repeatedly encountered too late to counter effectively, reinforcing the narrative that humanity's rise was not a matter of luck or circumstance, but the result of deliberate planning, adaptive strategy, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. As news of human successes spread, alien civilizations began to reconsider long-held assumptions about the species, with some councils advocating direct engagement to understand human capabilities and intentions, while others considered preemptive strikes to contain what they increasingly feared was an unstoppable force. And amidst this uncertainty, humans continue to operate with a calculated patience that had defined their rise, allowing opponents to expose weaknesses, make strategic errors, and reveal intentions that humans could exploit to maximum effect. Across Earth and allied colonies, the civilian population remained a critical component of humanity's power, contributing to research, logistics, and intelligence networks, and the integration of society into the broader interstellar strategy ensured both resilience and cohesion as communities understood the stakes and acted with purpose, fostering a sense of unity and shared destiny that alien powers could neither disrupt nor replicate. By the time the first multisystem conflict erupted in earnest, humanity had already mastered the art of combined operations, integrating fleets, planetary defenses, AI coordination, and allied support into a seamless whole that overwhelmed alien strategies before they could be fully executed, demonstrating a level of coordination, foresight, and technological mastery that cemented humanity's reputation as a rising galactic power, capable of defending allies, projecting force, and reshaping the balance of power in a manner that left even. The most arrogant civilizations forced to reconsider centuries of assumptions and recalibrate their understanding of a species they had persistently underestimated. The escalation of hostilities across the galaxy reached a critical point as human forces transitioned from defensive operations to deliberate strategic offensives designed to secure stability and deter further aggression. And while aliens still perceive these actions as attacks, humans framed each maneuver as a proportional response, carefully calculated to preserve life where possible, maximize disruption of opposing command structures, and demonstrate the futility of underestimating humanity. A philosophy rooted in centuries of earthly survival and an understanding that power wielded responsibly commanded respect and allegiance. In the Aelios Belt, the first major engagement of this new phase unfolded with breathtaking precision as coordinated fleets of human warships, supported by automated drones and stealth reconnaissance platforms, executed simultaneous strikes on multiple orbital installations, supply convoys, and command vessels, neutralizing key threats before alien forces could react, while human strategists exploited real-time intelligence from allied civilizations and advanced predictive modeling to anticipate enemy movements, ensuring that every action was both decisive and efficient, leaving alien commanders reeling in confusion and frustration at their inability to counter a foe they had long dismissed, as battles spread to nearby star systems. Human diplomats leveraged a perception of restraint and morality to rally neutral species to their cause, offering protection, technological assistance, and trade agreements to those willing to align with humanity, creating a coalition that exponentially increased their operational reach and intelligence capabilities. And alien powers soon realized that what they had assumed was a single planet's defense was in fact a coordinated effort of a rapidly expanding interstellar network, one that combined innovation, loyalty, and the capacity to strike decisively across vast distances. Behind the scenes, Earth's leadership orchestrated these operations with an unparalleled fusion of military oversight, scientific guidance, and political strategy, ensuring that every fleet movement, technological deployment, and diplomatic initiative reinforced the others, creating a force multiplier effect that magnified human impact and influence far beyond raw numbers or firepower. And this integration of society, technology, and strategy became the hallmark of humanity's rise, demonstrating a mastery of interstellar operations that alien powers had never encountered. During this period, alien intelligence agencies scrambled to understand the source of human efficiency, reviewing centuries of reconnaissance data, intercepted communications, and battlefield reports, only to find that humans had not merely anticipated standard responses but had built entire campaigns around the predictable flaws of alien psychology, command hierarchies, and bureaucratic rigidity, exploiting weaknesses that no military manual or strategy doctrine had accounted for, a revelation that forced alien councils into reactive, often disorganized decision-making, amplifying the advantages humanity had meticulously cultivated over decades of quiet preparation. At the same time, human engineers and scientists pushed technological innovation to unprecedented levels, developing energy shields capable of withstanding combined assaults from multiple alien capital ships, propulsion systems that allowed tactical repositioning faster than enemy sensors could detect, and automated defense systems that acted independently yet in perfect synchronization with human commanders, turning the art of warfare into a blend of calculation, intuition, and precision execution that alien fleets struggled to comprehend, much less counter effectively. Smaller civilizations under human protection began to take active roles in engagements, providing critical intelligence on enemy positions, local supply lines, and terrain. Advantages. While human strategists ensured that these allies were not merely passive contributors but fully integrated participants in combined operations, fostering loyalty and mutual dependence while simultaneously undermining alien influence, creating a network of interdependent civilizations that strengthened humanity's position and expanded its reach across contested regions of space. In response, alien powers attempted unconventional tactics, including covert attacks, misinformation, campaigns, and rapid redeployments. Yet humans consistently adapted in real time, often turning these attempts against the aggressors by exploiting predictable behavioral patterns and leveraging superior technology. And in many cases, entire alien fleets were neutralized or forced to retreat with minimal human casualties, further reinforcing perception of invincibility and strategic foresight. As these confrontations intensified, humanity's command centers and allied bases became hubs of continuous innovation, with AI-assisted simulations predicting not only military outcomes but also political and social repercussions, enabling human leaders to make decisions that balance immediate operational success with long-term strategic stability, a level of foresight that alien civilizations found incomprehensible, as it combined analytical rigor with the ability to account for emotion, culture, and improvisation in a single integrated decision-making process within the Xylar Dominion. And Phyrexian conclave, internal debates became increasingly frantic as military failures, public dissatisfaction, and the realization of human superiority threatened political stability. Yet despite these pressures, humans maintained a disciplined approach, avoiding overextension while continuously expanding influence, demonstrating a remarkable ability to balance aggression with prudence, offense with defense, and innovation with tradition, a combination that allowed them to dominate multiple theaters of operations simultaneously. By the time human forces launched coordinated strikes on contested systems near the Epsilon Eridani and Tau Ceti sectors, the galaxy witnessed a full measure of human planning and execution, as fleets moved in perfect concert, integrating electronic warfare, precision orbital strikes, planetary defense networks, and allied contributions in a sequence so seamless that alien commanders struggled to identify any points of resistance, and the result was decisive. Enemy forces suffered heavy losses, critical supply chains were severed, and key political leaders were forced to negotiate from positions of weakness, all while humans preserved their forces and reinforced their strategic posture, solidifying both dominance and credibility across the galaxy. These operations mark a turning point in galactic perception, as the narrative of humanity shifted from passive observer to active master, a species whose patience, ingenuity, and disciplined execution allowed it to control the pace of conflict, project power with precision, and reshape alliances and influence in ways previously unimaginable. And for the first time, alien civilizations began to understand that underestimating humanity had been a catastrophic mistake, one whose consequences would reverberate across the stars for decades to come, as humans continue their rise with deliberate purpose, strategic clarity, and an unwavering commitment to the principle that power must be exercise with intelligence, restraint, and foresight. Humanity's momentum continued to build as victories in contested systems reinforced both morale and strategic positioning, and by now, the galaxy had begun to recognize a pattern in human operations that combined foresight, adaptability, and relentless precision, a combination that left alien powers struggling to maintain cohesion in the face of coordinated assaults, diplomatic pressure, and psychological intimidation. In the Vega cluster, humans deployed a multifaceted campaign that leveraged not only conventional fleets but also specialized stealth units capable of infiltrating enemy formations undetected, disabling command networks, and sowing confusion among alien crews, while simultaneously projecting power through visible demonstrations of technological superiority such as orbital shield arrays and long-range precision strikes, creating a psychological effect that amplified the tactical advantage and forced opponents to act defensively, often in ways that played directly into human calculations. Allied civilizations, now fully integrated into human-led coalitions, contributed not merely manpower but intelligence, unique technologies, and knowledge of local star systems, creating a networked operational advantage that human strategists exploited to preemptively secure resource-rich sectors and strategically valuable wormhole junctions, denying alien powers both access and initiative while reinforcing the perception of human omnipresence across contested space. Within human command centers, continuous analysis of alien decision-making allowed for real-time adaptation of tactics, blending automated AI predictions with human intuition to develop countermeasures faster than opponents could implement them, and as alien fleets attempted to exploit perceived weaknesses in human coordination, they consistently found themselves outmaneuvered, with contingencies anticipated and neutralized in advance, demonstrating a mastery of both operational art and psychological warfare that reshaped the calculus of galactic conflict. In these campaigns, human forces employed a principle of proportional escalation, demonstrating strength without unnecessary destruction, often disabling key infrastructure while preserving civilian populations, a discipline that contrasted sharply with alien conventions of overwhelming force. And this approach earned human allies trust while sowing doubt and dissent within opposing ranks, further amplifying the effectiveness of each. Engagement. Simultaneously, human scientists unveiled breakthroughs in energy manipulation and propulsion that allowed fleets to traverse contested zones with unprecedented speed and precision, while planetary defense networks incorporated predictive shielding and autonomous countermeasures, creating a layered defense system that alien attackers found nearly impossible to penetrate. And these technological advantages were continuously refined through lessons learned in each engagement, creating a feedback loop of innovation that ensured humans remained several steps ahead at all times. The psychological impact on alien powers were profound, as repeated failures to achieve strategic objectives despite overwhelming numerical superiority led to infighting, loss of morale, and political destabilization, forcing councils to divert resources from offensive operations to internal consolidation and intelligence gathering, a process human strategists anticipated and used to expand influence. With minimal direct confrontation, in the Phyrexian conclave, debates became increasingly desperate, with some factions advocating immediate peace negotiations while others demanded all-out retaliation. Yet human actions consistently preempted these plans, striking at logistical hubs, intelligence nodes, and command vessels with precision that rendered counterattacks ineffective, demonstrating a level of planning, coordination, and foresight that alien commanders could neither predict nor replicate. Meanwhile, humans leverage their understanding of alien culture and psychology to manipulate enemy expectations, staging feints, misdirecting reconnaissance, and creating ambiguity around operational intentions, forcing opponents into reactive postures that played directly into human strengths, and the combination of technological superiority, strategic insight, and psychological acumen reinforced humanity's reputation as a species whose rise was methodical, inevitable, and unstoppable. Across the galaxy, smaller civilizations increasingly aligned themselves with humans, recognizing both the practical benefits of alliance and the moral authority of a species that wielded power responsibly. And as humans integrated these allies into multi-system operations, their combined capabilities allowed for rapid expansion of influence, secure supply chains, and unparalleled situational awareness, giving humanity a level of control and flexibility previously unseen in galactic history. Even as human forces extended into sectors previously dominated by alien powers, they maintained operational discipline and ethical standards, ensuring that victories did not come at the expense of unnecessary destruction or alien civilian suffering. A principle that further distinguished humans from aggressive or exploitative civilizations and earned respect even from those who opposed them politically or militarily. In the Epsilon Eridani sector, human fleets executed a synchronized campaign that neutralized multiple enemy outposts, severed supply lines, and captured strategic facilities without incurring significant losses. And as alien commanders scrambled to regroup, human forces leveraged both speed and foresight to consolidate control, secure vital resources, and establish long-term defensive positions, demonstrating the integration of tactical brilliance, strategic planning, and logistical mastery that defined humanity's rise. Throughout these operations, Earth and allied colonies continue to provide technological development, intelligent analysis, and societal cohesion, ensuring that the human war machine remained both adaptable and sustainable, and a combination of continuous innovation, disciplined execution, and ethical governance created a model of interstellar power projection that alien civilizations struggled to comprehend or counter. By the conclusion of these campaigns, human influence extended across multiple contested regions. Alien powers were forced to acknowledge both their miscalculations and humanity's unmatched operational proficiency, and whispers of human mastery began to permeate the galaxy, a narrative of restraint, intelligence, and decisive capability that contrasted sharply with previous assumptions of human weakness, setting the stage for the ultimate revelation of the species' full potential. A moment that would forever alter the balance of power and redefine what it meant to underestimate humanity. As human influence solidified across the galaxy, the stage was set for the ultimate revelation of the species' full capabilities, a moment that would shatter long-held assumptions and redefine interstellar power dynamics. And in preparation, humans meticulously synchronized military, technological, and diplomatic resources to ensure the decisive nature of their forthcoming actions, leaving no detail to chance and no vulnerability unaddressed, for centuries of preparation had instilled a principle. True mastery was achieved not through reckless aggression but through controlled, overwhelming precision, In the Serpentis Rift, one of the galaxy's most strategically vital regions, alien powers launched a coordinated offensive intending to test humanity's limits and reclaim lost influence. Yet every maneuver was anticipated, mapped, and countered with such foresight that human forces turned the assault into an opportunity, luring enemy fleets into traps that neutralized command structures, disrupted supply chains, and isolated units from support, a demonstration of strategic brilliance that left alien commanders scrambling for solutions that did not exist. Simultaneously, humans revealed technological marvels that had been long hidden beneath layers of subterfuge: energy weapons capable of disintegrating capital ships at range, stealth fleets that appeared from impossible angles to strike with surgical precision, and artificial intelligences that managed logistics, communications, and battlefield tactics with a speed and accuracy alien minds could not match, integrating predictive modeling with real-time adaptation to create a force that was both reactive and proactive simultaneously, a combination that rendered traditional alien strategies obsolete. Allied civilizations, now fully committed to the human coalition, played pivotal roles in these operations, providing intelligence, local navigational knowledge, and specialized technologies that augmented human capabilities, demonstrating that humanity's rise was not built on domination alone but on the creation of networks of mutual benefit, loyalty, and shared purpose, and the synergy between human innovation and allied contribution created operational outcomes that exceeded the sum of individual elements, leaving adversaries bewildered by the speed, coordination, and decisiveness of every engagement. Within human command centers, continuous feedback loops between battlefield data, predictive, simulations, and strategic oversight allowed for instantaneous adaptation to unforeseen developments, turning every attempted alien gambit into a self-defeating maneuver, and the combination of foresight, improvisation, and technological superiority created a pattern of victories that reinforced both the psychological and tactical dominance of humanity. Diplomatic channels, once used primarily for observation and negotiation, became instruments of strategic pressure as humans leveraged knowledge of alien politics, interfactional rivalries, and cultural expectations to destabilize opposition from within, provoking hesitation, infighting, and miscalculations that further amplified the effectiveness of military operations. And by manipulating perception alongside reality, humans demonstrated that mastery of the galaxy required understanding minds as much as ships, weapons, or technology. As confrontations escalated, humans demonstrated unprecedented restraint and ethical conduct in warfare, choosing to disable rather than annihilate, incapacitate rather than kill indiscriminately, a philosophy rooted in earthly history where survival, moral integrity, and long-term stability had been tested across millennia, and this approach created not only allies but also a narrative of respect and legitimacy that even the most cynical alien powers could not ignore, contrasting sharply with their own reliance on coercion and fear. During the pivotal battle of Helios Prime, human forces executed a multi-theater assault that simultaneously neutralized orbital defenses, disrupted fleet formations, and secured planetary control, all while maintaining a defensive posture that minimized human casualties and protected civilian populations, a display of precision, coordination, and ethical calculation that became the defining example of human operational excellence. And the speed and decisiveness of their actions ensured that alien forces were unable to regroup, effectively ending organized resistance in the sector. As the galaxy witnessed the unfolding of these events, alien powers were forced to confront the catastrophic error of their previous assumptions. Humanity had not merely caught up with other civilizations technologically, diplomatically, and strategically, but had surpassed them, integrating centuries of preparation, unparalleled adaptability, and ethical conduct into a cohesive doctrine of interstellar mastery, a revelation that caused shockwave through every council, fleet, and intelligence network. At the core of human operations, leadership emphasized cohesion, foresight, and shared purpose, ensuring that every participant, from seasoned admirals to allied scientists, understood both the strategic objectives and the ethical framework guiding them, creating a culture of responsibility, ingenuity, and decisive action that alien species found impossible to anticipate or counter. And this alignment of purpose and execution became the key to humanity's success. By the conclusion of the campaign, the galaxy had undergone a transformation, Former aggressors were forced to negotiate from positions of weakness. Previously neutral civilizations actively aligned with human-led coalitions, and the narrative of human inferiority was replaced by one of awe, respect, and caution. As even the most ambitious powers acknowledged the consequences of underestimating a species that had risen methodically, decisively, and ethically to claim mastery of the stars, humanity, though now recognized as a galactic force, continued to exercise restraint, consolidating gains, fostering alliances, and preparing for the long-term stewardship of interstellar stability, demonstrating that power was most effective when balanced with wisdom, patience, and foresight. And through these actions, humans not only secured dominance but also established a model for ethical, intelligent, and sustainable governance on a scale previously unimaginable. As news of their success spread, cultural, technological, and political paradigms across the galaxy began to shift, with other civilizations reconsidering strategies, alliances, and assumptions about power, recognizing that the rise of humanity was not a temporary phenomenon but a structural redefinition of interstellar dynamics, and that any future engagement with humans would require both respect and careful calculation. By the time humans had fully asserted their position across the Helios, Epsilon Eridani, and Tau Ceti sectors, the culmination of decades of preparation, ethical restraint, technological innovation, and strategic brilliance became evident. Humanity had transitioned from quiet observers to decisive masters, a species whose rise was unstoppable not merely because of strength or intelligence, but because it had mastered a combination of foresight, adaptability, ethics, and coordination, ensuring that any miscalculation by alien powers would now be met with a response both inevitable and devastating, a realization that marked the penultimate moment in humanity's ascendance and set the stage for the final resolution of galactic power and recognition. With the galaxy finally acknowledging humanity as an unparalleled force, humans transition from calculated expansion to consolidation of lasting influence, and in every contested sector, from the Helios belt to the distant Epsilon Eridani systems, human fleets, planetary defenses, and allied coalitions operated in perfect synchrony, ensuring that no rival could exploit gaps in control, while simultaneously fostering diplomacy, trade, and cooperation with previously neutral civilizations, to create a network of loyalty and mutual benefit that strengthened humanity's position without provoking unnecessary resistance. Alien powers that had long underestimated Earth and its people now face the undeniable truth. The species they dismiss as primitive had mastered the art of interstellar governance, warfare, and diplomacy, demonstrating an unprecedented ability to anticipate, adapt, and dominate. And the psychological impact of this revelation reverberated across councils, command, centers, and academies, as leaders realized that centuries of arrogance had been met with strategic brilliance and technological superiority that could not be challenged directly without catastrophic consequences. Humanity's approach combined overwhelming capability with restraint, ensuring that decisive victories did not devolve into unnecessary destruction. And this discipline won admiration from allies and caution from former adversaries, as human commanders displayed not only tactical genius but also moral clarity, reinforcing a reputation as both formidable and principled, a combination that proved uniquely effective in maintaining stability while asserting authority. In the final campaign to secure the outer sectors, humans executed simultaneous operations across multiple star systems, neutralizing hostile fleets, securing key hyperspace junctions, and establishing permanent defense networks, while allied species contributed intelligence, logistical support, and specialized technologies, creating a force of unparalleled coordination, adaptability, and efficiency. And alien powers, despite their numerical advantages, were consistently outmaneuvered, outplanned, and outmatched, often suffering defeat before they could understand the nature of the threat they face. The culmination of human strategy was displayed during the decisive engagement near the Tau Ceti cluster, where combined human and allied forces intercepted a massive alien armada, employing advanced stealth maneuvers, energy-based neutralization systems, and real-time predictive coordination to incapacitate enemy command vessels, sever supply lines, and disable key weapon platforms, all with minimal human casualties, leaving alien commanders in disbelief at the scale, precision, and foresight of the human operations. Simultaneously, human diplomats engaged with remaining neutral and hostile civilizations to formalize treaties, secure alliances, and codify agreements that recognize human authority and the collective security of allied species, demonstrating that mastery was not achieved through domination alone, but through the careful integration of ethics, diplomacy, and strategic foresight, ensuring that the rise of humanity was both respected and sustainable. As alien powers came to terms with the futility of resistance, internal dissent and political realignment reshaped their societies, with factions advocating cooperation, submission, or alliance with humanity gaining influence, while those clinging to outdated assumptions of superiority were marginalized, creating a new political landscape that reflected the irreversible shift in power dynamics. And across the galaxy, intelligence networks, scientific collaborations, and trade agreements increasingly centered on human leadership, reflecting both capability and credibility. On Earth and human-controlled colonies, the population celebrated victories but remained focused on long-term stewardship, consolidating technological advancements, integrating allies, and ensuring societal cohesion, as leaders emphasized that true mastery required preparation, foresight, and ethical responsibility, a lesson forged from centuries of survival, ingenuity, and patient strategy. And this disciplined approach ensured that humanity's rise was enduring rather than ephemeral, respected rather than feared without reason, and admired rather than envied. By the time the final diplomatic and military campaigns concluded, humans had not only secured their borders but had fundamentally reshaped the structure of galactic power, establishing a coalition of allied species, integrated defense networks, and a framework of governance that balanced authority with moral responsibility, demonstrating that supremacy could coexist with ethical conduct, strategic restraint, and cooperation. A principal alien civilization struggled to comprehend, yet were compelled to respect. The galaxy, once filled with arrogance, misjudgment, and underestimation, now recognized humanity as a species whose combination of innovation, resilience, intelligence, ethical conduct, and strategic brilliance rendered a defining force in interstellar phase, a civilization capable of defending allies, deterring aggression, and projecting power across light years with unmatched efficiency and foresight. And in this recognition, former doubts, scorn, and dismissals were replaced by respect, caution, and the undeniable understanding that humanity had arrived as a permanent, dominant presence. In the final analysis, humanity's rise was not simply the result of technology or firepower, but of an integrated mastery of strategy, psychology, ethics, and innovation, a deliberate and patient ascent that leveraged centuries of observation, preparation, and adaptation to turn perceived weakness into unparalleled strength. And through this comprehensive, disciplined, and ethical approach, humans established themselves as a galaxy's new standard of mastery, a species that no civilization could underestimate again, a civilization whose quiet observation had evolved into decisive, irreversible dominance. And as the last alien fleets capitulated, the galaxy collectively acknowledged that the era of human ascendancy had begun, not as a conquest of destruction, but as a calculated, intelligent, and principled reshaping of interstellar civilization, a rise both inevitable and deserved. And in that moment, humanity had truly claimed its place as masters among the stars.